this tutorial I'm gonna just go into some quick easy ways to play around with typography. This is a piece I'm working on. I'm trying to make this look like a magazine, and there's two different kinds of type that you can have. One is called point text, and the other was called area text. If I select the type tool, the text tool, and I just click and I start typing, it just goes on in infinity, in a straight line. You can see if I click and move it over, it just kept going on and on. Alright, so I'm going to delete that layer, and I'm going to show area text. Alright, so I'm going to click. Okay, I'm on the. Let me throw that away. Alright, what I'm going to do here is I'm on the text tool, and I'm just going to click and hold my finger down on a button and draw out a box. Alright, and now if I type, it just sort of breaks to fit in that box. When it gets to the end, it's just going to keep going down, and you see right here, this little box right here that I'm circling, there will be a little plus sign that'll appear in there. Because that means that there's text down below this line. I keep typing and it's moving downward. So if I hover over this area right here, I get these little arrows, and I can drag that down, and the text expands to fill that space. If I wanted to make this box wider, I hover over it till I get the little arrows pointing sideways, and you can see it's changing to fill that space this way. Okay, another thing I can do is if I hover over the corners, I can rotate that text. Alright, so it's sort of a transform mode. Let me hold the shift key. No, it's not locking back into place. And this one, I'm going to get rid of that and do this again. Okay, so I'm just going to click on make some point text again, and I'm going to hit my keycaps and type born to run. Alright, and if I want to, I can scroll. Okay, so if I want to scroll through to get different fonts, I have up here in the options panel, I can just change that font right here. I can just click here and choose a font, or I can select it and I can type, type out the name of the font if I know one, and as I'm typing, you can see that blue area means I haven't finished it, but it starts to finish for me. I just hit enter and it accepts it. If I want to scroll through these fonts quickly, and I don't really know my fonts, it's quite easy. I can just make sure I select the text. I'm selected on the text tool, and this layer over here in the layers panel, I select this layer, and I come up here and I'm gonna click and drag over where it says, over the font, and now I can just hit the arrow keys and scroll through the fonts. I'm just hitting the arrow keys and running through each of these fonts till I see something that I like. Alright, what are we gonna pick here? A nice cowboy font. No. Alright, okay, that'll work for now. I'm not crazy about it, but it'll work. Alright, so I can change the size of that font here, and that's too, if and I want to move this text, I can either just click on that move tool right here, but I usually, if I'm on this tool, I just hold down the the command key, and I get the move tool, so I can move that into place. And another way I want to change this type size is right here. I have this layer, the type size. I can just click over, and I get that little finger, the little slider, and I can just drag it right and left till I get the right size. Another way is right here. Okay, it's not here because I just reset my panels, so I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to call out Character. Okay, Character. Alright, and it comes up. It's paired with the paragraph tab here, and the if I'm working in paragraphs where I have a block of area text, I can flush left, flush right, and center the text, different things like that. Okay, so I'm just going to go to to the actually I want that to stay open, so let me, there we go. Okay, I just pulled that off of there by clicking in this area right here, and that way it won't keep closing every time I release it. Now I'm gonna select character. Okay, there a couple of different things here, like there's the font size. Okay, so if I want to choose the font size, I can do it just like I do up here. Scrolling back and forth, I can, you know, click here and choose a font, or I can just type it in manually. Alright, there's this the leading. So say if I'm gonna hit T, and I'm just gonna put a space in here, and say if I want to adjust the spacing between these lines, I can use the leading here. Alright, okay, there's the kerning, and that would be the letter space. So say this O is too far away from this B, and I want to fix that. You know, like this R and this N look good, but this O is too wide on either side. So I'm going to adjust the kerning, and I can just, you know, move that in and out till it looks right. And once it gets kind of close and I want to fine tune it, I can always just use the key. Okay, so, I mean type it in. Like right here I can see that's -100. I'll move here and I'll just go to -100 and save myself the hassle. The next one here, this is tracking. This would be, so say I want, this would be the spacing between all the letters. So say I want this born to space out as far as this run. I'm just going to click here and I'll just space it out till it, you know, lines up nicely across the whole thing there. Alright. So then there's the vertical scale. So let's see if I want to scale this up, scale this down. Alright, then there's the horizontal scale. I mean, so I can scale it out this way and back this way. There's the baseline shift. So if I have a hit type of the T, I want to move this on that line, I can move this up or down like that. That would be sort of like if I, you know, wanted to do like 10 squared, and then, or I could use one of these numbers here to do that automatically. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this here is the faux bold, you know, sort of a fake bold, because like some type sizes, other fonts have, you can get bold, bold italic, and different styling right here, but not all of them. And this is one where you can fake it. You want to make that bold, and this is a font that doesn't have a bold font. You can just click on the faux bold, and it will bump that type up. You know, so you can see right here what this bold looks like is not the same as the official bold. You know, it's kind of wonky looking. But sometimes if you don't have this real font here, you can fake it that way. There is also italic. You can make all your letters, if you have upper lower, make everything all caps. If you have words, you know, upper lower, you want to make everything upper lower caps, you can change that. So that would be, let's see, born. Okay, actually I think this, hang on. Okay, so you can see this is like a normal upper lower, and then I change it to this upper lower caps or small caps. Then you can see it changes it that way. And then there's the strike through, underline, and the strike through. All right. Okay, so that is that. I'm just gonna drag this back in here till it locks into place. And all right, so another thing that I can do is actually I'm gonna change this. I'm going to make this impact just so it stands out. And I'll increase the size. And I'm just going to talk about layer styles. I've done another tutorial on this, so I'm not going to really go into this much. It's on another one on this YouTube channel. If I'm on this letter, I can just click on some of these different styles and get all kinds of funky stylings. The one thing is there's this, I'm gonna have to move this panel. Okay, there's this flyout menu here. You can't see it, so I have to move everything over. If I click on here, I can new style, and I can create a new style. Again, I can go down and click the FX and create these, create a style one bit at a time. Or I can go to these pre-made styles. This is already down here. You can see that these styles are already done because that's from this. But if I want to create a new one, I could just click here. Or I could just go up here and choose a style that's already done. So like I've done here. And if I want to change it, I can click on that flyout menu. And there's this thing. Okay, that's what. Right here, if I click here, there's this thing here that says, it's at the very bottom of this menu, it says Scale Effects. And when I do that, I get this menu here. Alright, actually, I think I can get this on the screen. I'll close Styles, and now let's try it. Now right click on the FX. Okay, you can kind of see it. It's halfway there. You can see the top word, Scale Effects. I let go and I get this menu. And when I get this menu, what I can do is scale them up and down. And often you'll see these styles, it just looks like a big blob, which is kind of cool. But if you scale that back, you can see that this is actually raised letters. It's sort of a metallic raised letter effect. That looks kind of cool. Or you can take it down to where it's very subtle. So there's a lot of interesting things. You might see a style in here and think it's really ugly, but then if you scale it down, it could actually become something a lot more interesting. You could either use it the way it was meant to be used, or use it something different. Also, gotta move this back over. Also up here in this flyout menu, which I meant to go into, was there's a bunch of different styles here that you don't see in this style menu here, so you can add to it. So let's see, texture effects, and you can either append it, or you can just swap out what's already in there. But I'm just going to hit append, and it will add them to the bottom. So now you get a lot more effects. Move this back into place. Okay, so you have lots of different styles here. And again, there's another video that I go into this a bit more, a bit slower pace. The one other thing that I wanted to get into, let's pick something that looks decent before I move on. Okay, actually I like this because it sort of stands out. You can actually see the line in this texture. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about here is this warp. Whoops, go back to the text tool. I want to talk about this warping effect. So I'm going to zoom in. Alright, so there's this, you can do a warping effect, and that you would use this image right here where it has the letter T over the letters right there. I'll just click on that, and and then I get this dialog box here, and from there I'll choose the type of warping effect that I want. I can go to arc, okay, and then I can adjust the bend. I can make it go down, I can make it go up, I can go horizontal, make it kick out to the left or the right, and I can do that vertical. Okay, so you can do a lot of different things, and again, there's a lot, a number of different style warping effects to choose from. But one thing I wanted to show you, see how this arc is going up, it's sweeping up into this sky area, and then you have this, looks like there's a horizon, and then there's the sky. That's what I'm assuming this effect is. Hit cancel. This effect is like, there's the sky and there's a horizon, so it's like you have this reflection of the horizon in this text. So if I do a warp, it sort of it loses it because the line stays straight. One way about it, one quick way is you could although this doesn't allow me to rasterize that layer, a way around rasterizing that layer, which means basically flattening it, is I can make a blank layer and merge the two layers, and that will rasterize it. But then it'll be, everything I'll do will be destructive. So a way around that is I can convert this to a smart filter. I mean to a smart object. Okay, let's see. Can I do that here? Convert to smart object. Actually, I'm gonna move this over a little bit, and right here you'll see convert to smart object. Okay, so now I've converted that into a smart object. Actually, I didn't mean to get into smart objects here, but I forgot that there is an advantage of using a smart object. You can see it's changed that text right here to this icon, so I don't have immediate access to all of those layer styles. Actually, I'm gonna close those down. If I want to edit it, I can go into it, but I'm gonna show you what the advantage is first. Okay, so you see I can warp this text now. Let's see. Okay, I'm on the layer. Actually, it's no longer a type tool since it's a smart object, so I have to warp this a different way. So I have to, I can't remember where warp is at, so I'm just going to use the help panel. I'll just type warp. It's under free transform. That's where it's at actually. Edit, transform, warp. Okay, so I can warp it here, but it warps a little differently. You see, the interface is a little different. I don't get that same dialog box. I get these little handles here, and I can click and move them. You know, it's sort of like the pen tool. Okay, but I don't want to use these because it's easy to lose control when you're playing with these. So we're not going to work with that one. You know, and I can pull that out that way. But again, I'm not going to distort it there. If you need something very specific, using these handles, but again, generally speaking, I try to avoid it. Alright, so right here up in the options panel where it says custom, I'm going to click on that, and there you go. You see you get the exact same choices. So here we go. Let's go to arc. Okay, so it looks exactly the same. But here, instead of having that panel to change that, I get one little thing here, and then I can adjust that up and down from here. Okay, so it makes a very simple warp, but I can also you know, use those handles to do it the other way. Okay, so but the thing, if you notice, if I hit accept that, you notice this time, since this is a smart object, that line curves. You know, where when I did it the other way, that line just shot straight across and the warp just went away and you couldn't see it. So here it has a nice curve. So that is the advantage of using a smart object. And if I want to edit this, I'm going to move over here to the layers panel. I'll double click, and this is just telling me it's a smart object. I need to save it, blah blah. I hit OK, and now I have this text, which is the smart object. And you notice instead of having one panel open, I have a second tab open up here, and that is this is my text, and this is my original document. Alright, so if I come here and I change that, say I'm just going to change that to born run, delete that. Okay, born run. Now I come back here, it still hasn't changed. But if I go here, I have to save this. If I don't save it, it's going to ask me if I want to save it. So I just hit close, and now it's saying save changes to document born to run. I'll hit yes. And now you can see it saved it and closed it, and now it changed this to born run. And that is just some of the ways that you can manipulate text.